This is the Audi R8 review. As I've said, Corona season, so everything is very rushed.
Yes.
It's also very hot.
Very rushed. 3 hours, 3 cars.
3 hours to collect as well and return.
Yeah. So excuse us.
Yes.
For this.
So here we've got Audi R8 V10.
Yes.
It's the facelift and it's the rear wheel drive.
Oh, so you know it's good.
So you know it's good. Now, this car, I would never expect to have this car finished in this color. When you think R8, you think defined, you think a little bit more elegant than you do a Huracan, of which it's based off. I mean, they both have the same 5.2 litre V10, based on the same chassis, you know.
A little bit of the same look as well.
Yeah, it can be argued that they've got a bit of the same look.
Yeah, design cues. I would call them design cues. Design cues, the front bumper and the side, not air intake, because they're, you know.
But that's where it ends. That's where it ends. But before that, yellow. Would never expect to see it on an R8. And you know what? It bangs.
It doesn't have that black side thing.
You know what? I don't think it needs it. This car is insane. There's nothing about this R8 I don't love.
Everything.
The way it looks, the aggression of the new performance looks. Now don't get me wrong, this isn't the performance model, but I'm using performance looks because the performance is the variation, the new name for the plus.
Okay. So what does this car have on top or less than the performance? What would you say?
What would I say? I would say it's roughly about
40 horsepower, 602, this is 562.
Yeah,
0 to 100.
40 brake horsepower,
yeah.
Which is nothing. And, you know, they've got to obviously detune it in terms of, you know, if all the power's going to the back, they don't want you to kill yourself. They want you to buy the next model, so they got to keep you alive. So this thing, when I first drove this car,
until now you're lost for
no,
words.
I drove this car on the way back, and that was supposed to be my spoken review of driving it. I've got to do that again because of how poorly I just kept smiling like an idiot saying, I love the car, I love the car. And I just keep walking back and forth, I love the damn thing. So nervous, I'm so thrilled to be driving this car. I can't begin to explain it to you guys. It's Tony Stark's R8 and it's so much fun. Well, it was before driving this thing. This thing is insane. I can't stop smiling. Right. As you all know, 5.2 litre V10, twin turbo, 0 to 60 in
twin turbo? Oh. It's a naturally aspirated
I'm coming
V10,
off these
man.
two. I'm coming off these two. It's force of habit at this point.
That's a purest machine.
All right, okay. All right. 5.2 litre V10, not twin turboed or turboed. It's naturally aspirated.
Yes.
0 to 100 or 60.
3.3.
3.3.
Some say 3.2.
It's a German car, so you know what they do. They'll say 3.4, it'll probably be 2.9.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Now, as you move around this car, it's finished with these two dual tones. You've got Black Pack, which does the front badges, the wing mirrors, I believe the rear badges, some of the upper blades. The lower blade is finished in this lovely yellow, which honestly, I every time I look at it, it's really shocking. But even though it's finished in this beautiful yellow, what I love about it, it's an Audi. So you don't have everybody looking at you trying to crash into you because they're looking at your car. This Tony Stark level of respect, which is something I do want to come back to.
It still turns head. It doesn't
man, yeah.
Yeah, it still
if you want it to, it does.
It's a supercar that turns head.
It is definitely a supercar. And the way it drives, I mean, this car, this is what a lot of people would say would be the entry into the supercar market. And I do agree with that because coming off it, it's been a joy to drive. You'll see more into that. I'm currently in the center of the country. What could be considered almost, I'm in Manama, I'm in the heart of Manama. Don't get me wrong, I'm not in the souk or anything, but it's quite an easily maneuverable car. And it's got one hell of a heart. Now the interior itself is made up of leather, and I've got this fixed rear bucket seats, and everything itself is very nice, works properly. And, you know, as I've said, as you expect, when you are in this car, you are sat low, you have fairly good visibility for a supercar. You can see the sides excellently, you've got a good view of the front. It's not a Lambo where you've got about 3 inches of viewing space, so that's good. It's usable. You've got excellent rear view, let me just perfect it, rear view. So you're not lacking anything in this car in terms of comfort. I love this so much. This is a car that's for you. It's not for everyone else. You will get more satisfaction out of this car than anyone else by looking at it. This is a car you just want to drive, and you want to drive it all damn day.
Okay.
And it has got a lot of power.
How comfortable it is. When you say supercar level, you know how old supercars, the 90s, that's what you've been complaining about? That modern supercars are not the 90s supercars.
Okay, so I've mentioned it once or twice. My father used to have a lot of cars. So I got to experience a lot of classic cars from the 90s, 80s and so on. Now, supercars from those era were unrefined. They were dangerous. They wanted to kill you. Every time you sat in that car, if you didn't respect it, you weren't getting out of the car at the end of the trip. But with these cars, they're made for everyone. You don't need to be Lewis Hamilton, Michael Schumacher to get in the car and drive it. You just need to love cars and respect the car itself mindly,
the power it has.
and respect the power.
Exactly.
Because there's no way you're going to have your foot flat. When I drove here, I was checking. I put maximum, I think 3% of the engine, because you've got this limiter, this number that comes up, how much of the power's engine you're using. I think I used 3% at max.
Now, before we go to the back, mentioning on the front also, that we see all of these vents. Now, we mentioned on the RS6, and we're going to mention again on the RS7, that these front vents, they're not actually all of them functional.
No.
Also to do with the wind tunnel testing that they were doing. Still, it does give the car a bit of look, a bit of character.
Yes.
Especially on the side over there. It's not fully functional.
No.
But, you know,
but it's enough
character.
to look incredibly aggressive and to work enough for it to be placed in the market in which it is placed.
Exactly.
I showed the last key.
The R6.
So this is the R8 key. Found it in my pocket, couldn't find it before. R8 key. It's chunkier, it's nicer, you feel it in your pocket.
To the back of the car, where the magic happens, I would say.
So we're going to move to the mid
section,
where you're going to find the seats, carbon bucket seats.
Well, which is what when you saw at the beginning, you thought that's not going to be comfortable.
No, I was just going to say I'm not going to fit in that. I just straight up, I said I'm not going to fit in it. I got in, adjusted. It was so comfortable for a supercar. Now, like I said, lower blades, finished in the same beautiful yellow. Come over and look at this beautiful 5.2 litre V10.
Oh man,
with no turbos.
There's no naturally aspirated.
This thing is insane.
And I see you raised the wing.
I did raise the wing. I was sat here waiting for you for a bit, so I just had a little fiddle with everything. And I'm not somebody
nice with the wing.
who goes, oh, I need the wing, I need the wing. I don't usually care. But
I'm someone who needs the
cool.
wing.
It is very cool.
I need the wing, man.
It's gimmicky, but you know what? I love it. It's gimmicky. I like it.
Now, one of the main design changes on the back with the new 2020 model is that, remember the previous R8s, underneath the license plate, it was a split. Now it's just a continuation of that venting, or I would say vent style.
So people did used to get that car and end up wrapping the whole thing black. And the vents would used to continue. It is fake. It is just for looks.
Only in the middle section.
Only in the middle section. Yes, there are two massive fans here that cool
you can see the exhaust.
But I mean, that's where it comes. You look at the diffuser. It's got these 4 deep blades that come back, and you've got these 2 huge rear exhausts.
Oh, the RS exhaust, man. I mean, this is the daddy of the RSs. So
this is the R8.
it has to have this massive exhaust.
Now, something again I want to go off, R8 wins when it comes to lights. It just wins.
Oh.
You've got this sequential LED system for the turn signals. When you lock, when you unlock.
Would you have this over the Matrix LED? If the R8 came with a Matrix LED?
I think that's quite unfair to say. I think that these designs are better than the RS6.
It's a version of the Matrix, but this is the older Matrix LED tail
I
lights.
like this more than I do the RS6 lights.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think if they put RS6 lights in, I'd like to see the new design
okay.
that they go with. So let's head on in.
To the inside.
It's not pretty me getting in this car, but I do get in, as you can see in the test drive section. Now, I do want to mention, it is Corona, so they're being extra safe. This is a demo car for a lot of people, and they have a lot of tests whilst it's in the country. It is an Emirati car, so this is just here for the week. Now, when I drove this car, it's just how usable it is. It's just very usable. I mean, for the fact they've even got a wireless charging pad. This car's got everything you want. These fixed buckets, not the ones I would buy, are very good.
I remember you complaining about buckets.
I don't like buckets. I'm too big for buckets.
But how
Comfortable. I'll give it, it's comfortable.
That's the thing. And with the Audi, you don't get a center screen.
Yeah.
All you get is the digital cockpit.
It's all about the driver's experience, and this car does it well. It does it beautifully. There's not too much to go over in this car,
I mean,
but everything is just perfect.
it's just what you expect from a supercar.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's usable for two. Okay, performance, looks, I would say luxury as well, comfort.
This thing is insane. There's no... This is everything you could begin to want from a supercar. When you start to strip back even more, then it becomes unlivable.
It's going to be a track.
Yeah, it's going to be a track car.
Exactly.
This is the perfect daily driver's supercar.
So how about you start up the engine and we call off this review?
Okie dokie.
Let's hear it, man. That V10, not twin turbo, naturally aspirated. Oh my god. Does it have a rev limiter?
Yeah.
That was amazing. Even with the rev limiter,
So if you come on by,
it sounds insane.
so the one thing I'd like to say, the rev limiter on this is only 3,000 revs.
Oh, the others are 4,000.
Yeah, I've just noticed. But my goodness, this is a beautiful place to be.
Oh. So
This has been probably the best, my favorite car I've ever reviewed.
and this is one potential supercar that I'm looking at. Not this model. Maybe a little bit older.
Hang on, he'll drive the car and he'll be looking for this model. Just give him a little time to drive it.
So anyway, on that note, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and tell us, what do you think of the Audi R8 V10 rear-wheel drive? Would you take it over a Lamborghini Huracan Evo, or would you?
You know what?
This one?
You've seen me, if you look back at our old videos, you can see me trying to get into an Evo,
A rear-wheel drive.
or rear-wheel drive Evo. Ahmed, do I have this much space? I was like this in the Evo.
But still, we're ready to be proven wrong that there is space in the Huracan for Louis.
Yeah, just give me a test drive, it's no problem at all.
Exactly. Until next time, guys, it's Louis and Ahmed. We'll see you. Oh, and the valves is open. So
Oh, hang on, I haven't got it in sports mode, hang on.
I could hear the change, man. Oh man. So on that note, see you guys. Bye.
See ya.